Coming up on this Monday edition of the San Francisco 49ers Report, I'm Chase Sr. I hope all of you out there had a phenomenal weekend. It seems as though the Niners' interest in Joey Bosa has flipped. Back during NFL free agency, they weren't really interested in signing him. Now, they might be. Today's show is presented by PrizePicks, and it gets underway right now. Welcome on in, everybody. My name is Chase Sr. You're watching the San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports, and I appreciate all of you for stopping by and supporting the channel. Let's talk Joey Bosa to the 49ers. Back during NFL free agency, the Niners didn't have a lot of interest in bringing Joey Bosa in to team him up with his brother Nick along the Niners defensive line, and the 49ers thought then, and probably still are, an older player who's been injured a lot throughout his career, a little bit too expensive with what he made last year and where the edge rusher market is. But following the NFL draft, in which the Niners did draft a pass rusher, it seems like that tune and the Niners' willingness to sign him has changed a little bit. As far as that draft pick goes, in the third round, San Francisco drafted pass rusher Romello Height out of Texas Tech, and he is a speed rusher who is older at 25 years old, but despite the Niners adding him to the team, and they're very high on him with what he did during rookie minicamp, the Niners are still very thin along the defensive line and at the pass rusher spot for a team that finished dead last in the NFL in sacks last year. And so I think that Height, even in year one, can help to replace Bryce Huff. The role that Bryce Huff had with the Niners, a speed rusher off the edge. That is Height's game, and he plays with reckless abandon, a really good play speed, a constant effort. But for a team last year that couldn't get after the quarterback, they were dead last in the National Football League in sacks, and it didn't do the secondary any favors, I still think this Niners team needs juice at edge rusher. And you also think about Nick Bosa coming off a torn ACL. Is he going to be ready for week one? We're not sure. Mykel Williams had a pretty solid rookie year until he too tore his ACL. As of right now, middle of May, he's not even jogging. When is he going to come back in 2026? That's why Joey Bosa and signing him makes a lot of sense for the Niners. He is still without a team. I think the market has gone down a little bit. San Francisco can bring in a player who fits the scheme, can play opposite of Nick Bosa. And now that we're in the middle of May, he's probably not going to cost as much money. Matt Mayoko of NBC Sports Bay Area had said this recently, and then we'll get to what ESPN said about Joey Bosa signing with the Niners. First, Mayoko. Last season with the Bills, Bosa appeared in 15 games, recorded 5 sacks after earning more than $13 million. The year before that, played in 14 games with the Chargers, also finished with 5 sacks. At this stage of his career, and now on the wrong side of 30, the biggest question for the Niners is what he is still capable of producing. Because of that, the door probably is not completely closed until Bosa signs elsewhere. Still, it does not appear the Niners are willing to increase the price they would pay for Joey Bosa or any free agent simply because they have available cap space. And by the way, the 49ers have the most cap space in the National Football League at just under $70 million. With that, what say you? Should the Niners sign Joey Bosa? Type S for sign, P for pass. This is notable that Mayoko has changed his tune because he's very well sourced. Remember how he had alluded to the fact that D. Winters was a linebacker at the deep linebacker spot who could end up getting traded. What happened during the draft? He got traded. And so a few weeks ago, Mayoko had said, yeah, I think the Niners are out on Joey Bosa. Now he's saying the Niners could be in on Joey Bosa. Now, coming up next, ESPN put together their best fits for the top remaining free agents. Joey Bosa linked to the Niners, in addition to an offensive lineman. We'll get to that here in just a moment. But first, Today's 49ers report is sponsored by our friends at PrizePicks, the #1 daily fantasy sports app in North America. More than 20 million people have signed up. Billions of dollars have been paid out in winnings. Right now, if you give me a follow at Chase_Senior, thanks to their new social feeds feature, you can see my picks before we discuss them here on the show. NBA playoffs are now in the conference finals. NHL playoffs rolling on as well. Major League Baseball is in full swing. If you want to make some picks and put together a lineup, do so with PrizePicks. Team Picks is a fun new feature. You can pick winners, you can pick spreads in addition to totals. And with the Western Conference Finals, Game 1 getting underway tonight, let's take a look at a lineup. A 21.5 times multiplier to win $430. Chet Holmgren, less than 16 points. Dylan Harper, more than 19.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Jalen Williams, more than 15.5 points. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, less than 30.5. And then Stephon Castle, less than 17 points. Show us that you know ball with PrizePicks. With PrizePicks, it's always good to be right. Pick more, pick less, pick PrizePicks today. All right, remember, the 49ers do have the most cap space in the National Football League at $69.8 million. It doesn't mean that they are going to or have to spend that money now and it disappears. Cap space can be rolled over year. There's a lot of value in rolling that cap space over because when you especially look ahead to next offseason for the Niners, they don't have that much cap space. So opening up this cap space right now and having it at their disposal, they can carry it over. Then next offseason gives them a lot of flexibility to make a trade or, of course, sign players in NFL free agency. Here's what ESPN said about Bosa's fit with the Niners and why they chose him as the top fit for San Francisco in free agency among the 32 teams. Bosa has answered some availability questions over the past 2 years, playing in at least 14 games in each, and he fits as a pass rusher in Raheem Morris's defense. Bosa played 36.3 snaps per game last year in Buffalo. He finished with 5 sacks, 5 forced fumbles, and 42 pressures. We still see Bosa's speed to power ability on tape, and he still keeps high energy to make stops later in the down. He would provide quality depth for a Niners pass rush that ranked last in pressure rate, 24.9%, and total sacks, 20 in 2025. And why not have some fun? Put him next to his brother, Nick. And as we know, Nick and Joey, in addition to Mommy Bosa, have wanted the brothers to play alongside one another for a very long time. But the Niners have never been willing to overpay just to make that happen. And on top of some of the numbers that we passed along and discussed, here's a more in-depth look at how Joey Bosa fared. And I think it's fair to say that the last 2 seasons, he's played in at least 14 games. Last year, he had over 40 pressures. His pass rush grade, according to Pro Football Focus, top 10 at the position. So he still has some value generating turnovers. He forced 5 fumbles last year. He had the 16 quarterback hits on top of the 42 pressures, the 5 sacks, not too shabby either if he's a rotational player. Do I want the Niners to sign him for $13 million like he got from Buffalo? No, but if you can get him for 8, I'm all in. The Niners are also looked at as a fit for longtime offensive lineman Kevin Zeitler, who has been a well-respected veteran player for a long time at this point, playing for a couple of teams across the NFL. I personally think the Niners are good along the interior, but here was ESPN's reasoning on why Zeitler fits San Francisco. The veteran has a physical inside presence using his power to displace defensive tackles, and he has the movement ability to pull on gap schemes, which fits into Kyle Shanahan's system. Zeitler also uses his strong base and protection, ranking 37th out of 65 qualifying guards in pass block win rate last year at 92.4%. He would be an upgrade to the interior of San Francisco's offensive line, which saw left guard Spencer Burford leave for the Raiders in free agency. And by the way, I don't think Burford is in line to start with Las Vegas. But what did the Niners do? They drafted Carver Willis in the 4th round. As far as how Zeitler played last year for Tennessee, Overall PFF grade 72.9, a pass blocking grade 73, run blocking grade right on the nose of 70, and he gave up 15 pressures. And right now, it seems as though Carver Willis, the rookie out of Washington, who did play tackle in college at Kansas State and then at Washington, might have the inside track of potentially starting at left guard in between Trent Williams and Jake Brendel. It's going to be a competition between Carver Willis, the rookie, Connor Colby, year 2, and then the veteran in Robert Jones, who did play in Mike McDaniel's offense a few seasons ago, played well, and has, I think, more than 30 starts under his belt. So that is a big competition to watch once training camp in the preseason comes along. But if you add Zeitler to the team, you're going to have to cut a Colby or a Robert Jones. Maybe you cut a Nick Zakelj. You make room for Zeitler in that regard. Although I don't know if the Niners would be willing to do that because they signed Zakelj to a contract extension. Zeitler would cost more money than Zakelj. And so financially, how would that work out for San Francisco? But definitely something to watch there. And his experience in a gap scheme could fit indeed what Kyle Shanahan likes to and what he asks his offensive linemen to do. If the Niners do make a signing of Joey Bosa, of Kevin Zeitler, of another player, we'll talk about it here on the show. That's why you got to hit that subscribe button so that you can stay in the know. And don't forget to hit that bell icon as well. Therefore, anytime we publish a show like this, you'll get that push notification.